Welcome to the Lose Your Big Ass Stomach podcast. I'm your host, Jay Jackson, and my mission here is to help you get rid of that big ass stomach and take back control of your health so that you can look and feel your best by being the best version of yourself, mentally and physically, while destroying the mediocre agenda society is trying to brainwash you into, and breaking our families' generational curses of being unhealthy by being a healthy and fit role model. It's time to set a new standard. It's time to set a new standard of living. If you find the podcast helpful, be sure to hit that follow button because that helps us build a movement. Let's go. Growing up, my childhood dream was making it to the NFL. And a lot of times when I was a kid, when I would play in these different football games and we would lose, I would be so frustrated. I would be so disappointed. It wasn't like, we just lost. I was pissed and I hated it. And after we had a couple of losses, as I got older, from 8 and under, 10 and under, 12 and under, to middle school, to high school, each time I lost, it made it even more intense for me to want to win. And I believe that's one of the reasons that really led me to wanting to work out even more, outside of just, wanting to talk to my childhood crushes when I was in middle school. I wanted to look the part, but I wanted to leave no doubt when it came to winning. Not even just in the process, like during the games, but also even before the game started. I remember before I started working out, I would see guys on the football field and I'd be like, damn, they just look intimidating. I'm like, man, this dude here is rocked up, And sometimes that can defeat a person just off of just pure appearance. I remember at times looking at boxing, because growing up, my dad, he, loved watching boxing. Looking at guys like Mike Tyson, man, some of these guys would get into the ring with them, and they just, it's like they would just inflate. They just knew they was going to lose, just off of the appearance and just the demeanor alone. And so I just started to develop this, man, I don't care what, I'm going to stack the odds on my side to win at all costs. And the reason I want to share that with you guys is because winning is a habit. Some people look at people like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and LeBron, all these people, man, and they're like, oh, they're just winners. But they don't realize that these winners have habits that led them to be able to be winners. In the same way that losers have habits that led them to be losers. Things like the losers will say, yeah, man, I'm going to go out there and give it my best shot. I'm going to try. We might make it happen. We might not. And that's one of the reasons why when guys, they inquire about working with me with coaching, and I'm like, hey, man, you ready to rock and roll? Yeah, man, I'm willing to give it a try. And I'm like, oh, hell no. You ain't about to get inside my coaching program just want to try. That means you okay with failing. I'm looking for guys who committed, because trying is also a losing habit. You got to be committed. You got to be all in. I know sometimes we have responsibilities. We have, all these different other things that we're juggling, family, work, our careers. But at the same time, with the time that you do have, you can still be all in and committed to working out, to hitting them weights, to eating properly. Do the best that you can do and do all that you can do. Those are winning habits, man. If you tired of, having that big stomach, you tired of, not having energy, having health issues, not having the woman that you want to have, not being that positive role model and example for your kids, all you have to do is shift your habits from being losing habits to winning habits. It don't mean that you're a bad person, but you've been taught wrong. Sometimes growing up, we've been conditioned to lose because of the habits that we have. Like me growing up, me eating soul food all the time. Me eating junk food, sugar all the time. And getting into my early 20s and not having energy. Always feeling tired. Always having brain fog. I had developed some losing habits because eating like that is not gonna allow me to have energy to produce at a high level. And so I had to be like, okay, well, if I want to start winning, if I want to be able to sprint with the sprinters, I got to start eating in a way that's going to give me energy to be able to sprint with the sprinters. And so I switched up my habits to winning habits. Not just working out in the gym, but working out in the gym being consistent. Not just eating healthy sometimes, but eating healthy with structure. And so that way, when I do enjoy myself, when I do eat Waffle House or a burger or some tacos, I'm doing it with structure and discipline. It's like I'm still human, and so I'm gonna enjoy myself, but I have structure around how I do it. This is what winners do. Winners have habits of being structured. Winners have habits of being disciplined. Winners have habits of being consistent. You see guys, they talk about guys like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant all the time. These guys weren't extremely just gifted and talented growing up. Man, they were disciplined and consistent. They worked overtime. Kobe Bryant, I know he's not here with us now, but there's still so many different interviews and clips of him just talking about his mindset and how he thinks about different things. And that's I feel like that's even winning. That's a winning habit. Listening to how winners think about things, because success leaves clues. He used to say, I remember Kobe Bryant said something to the extent of, I would work out, multiple times throughout the day, when most players, they would just work out once or twice. But if I'm able to get more time in throughout the day, over time, that time is going to compound. And therefore, me putting in more time than the average player, of course I'm going to get better than them. Of course I'm going to have way more skill and awareness than they are, because I just have way more time invested. And so, the way I look at this is, imagine you want to lose weight and you like, man, sometimes I'll track it, sometimes I won't. But imagine if you take 10, 15 minutes. This is something I have a lot of my coaching clients do. Take 10 to 15 minutes to just plan out all the meals that you're going to eat throughout that day, all the snacks you go eat, even the things that you're going to drink. And so that way you have that awareness. Because most people, they don't even know this shit. Most people don't know how much they're eating, and that's why they're not losing weight. You could be eating all the healthiest foods, but if you don't have structure around what you're doing, you're losing. Because you don't even know what helped you win. That's why you ain't winning. If you lost a couple of pounds, you don't even know why it happened. You're like, damn, I stepped on the scale and lost a couple of pounds. But you don't know why. So your ass ain't really winning, because you could lose it tomorrow. But if you had structure around what you're doing, that way you're aware of how much you're eating, you're aware of how much you're working out, you're aware of what you're doing during your workouts. That's how you build and stack habits that allow you to win, because you start to become aware of, oh man, these habits right here, I got to start making these my non-negotiables on a daily and weekly basis if I want to continue to win, if I want to start building momentum. Guys, I don't know if y'all realize this, but we all human. There's days where I don't feel like working out. I might just be in a rut for no reason at all. I might just woke up on the wrong side of the bed. But at the same time, I know what my non-negotiables are that'll get me back in that mode, that'll get me back in flow. You see what I'm saying? And by knowing what these things are, these are my winning habits. And so I can keep on winning. You see what I'm saying? Like at the time of making this podcast, like I think this is podcast number 15. It's getting ready to come out pretty soon. And I'm like, okay, what can I do to make losing impossible? For me to be able to win at this game of podcasting, I got to be consistent. I might not be the most skilled or have the most charisma or the most whatever than other people. I don't have the best tech gadgets and all this kind of stuff. I don't need all that shit. But I know I could be disciplined. I know I could be consistent with making podcasts. You see what I'm saying? And so that's a winning trait. And just having that self-awareness to know that. And being honest with yourself. All right, what do I have? Damn, I don't have the best genetics. Damn, mama and daddy, they just didn't bless me with no rock hard ab genetics. Okay, I don't have it. Well, what winning habits can I have? What can I do to give myself better chances of being able to win? I could be disciplined. I could be consistent. I can work harder than the person who has better genetics than I do. And long term, you go outperform that motherfucker because they only relying on their genetics and they don't have winning habits. There are some people out here who just blessed, man. They just got the look. But that don't mean they gonna be able to keep it long term if they don't start to develop winning habits of taking care of themselves, eating properly, drinking water, not drinking all this sweet ass tea all the time, not drinking lemonade all the time, not staying up super late at night and not getting no sleep. Guys, these are winning habits. If you're not rested, you ain't gonna be able to sprint. You might be able to sprint for a minute or two, but you ain't gonna be able to sprint the whole day. You see what I'm saying? You gotta have things that allow you to not just get the results you want from a look standpoint, but you have to have the habits that allow for you to have sustainable results long term. This is how you see, they say, you think it's easy to get here, but it's even harder to stay here. They talk about that in the NFL. They call NFL not for long. And they say that because a lot of guys can get there, but can they stay there and perform at a high level? And one thing I realized, because when I used to train at the gym and train clients and stuff in the gym, I came across guys like Demaryius Thomas, before he went through his tragic passing, but and other guys like Morgan Burnett and other guys, and I just noticed these guys had to make a decision to get a personal trainer. They had to make a decision to eat properly. Because when you go to the NFL, they might tell you need to do these things, but they're not going to force their ass to do it. They got to want to do it. And so how LeBron James spends over $1 million a year on his health. Personal trainers, chiropractors, massage therapists, stretch therapists, people cooking for him, the whole nine. You see what I'm saying? He's invested. This is winning behavior, man. And that's why he's able to play in the game for so long. And not just a couple of years. He has that skill and he's talented just for a couple of years. He's able to do it for decades. Because he's been able to condition his body through winning habits. Taking care of himself. That's a winning habit, man. And so if you want to be out, you got kids, you got a wife, you got a partner, and you want to be here to be around for them, be that positive role model for them, and you want to be here 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years from now being with them. You got to be able to take care of yourself to give yourself those years. If you're not taking care of yourself, what's going to happen 3 years from now if you don't start making some changes? What's going to happen 5 years from now if you don't start making some serious changes? What's going to happen 10 years from now if you don't start making your health and fitness a priority, man? Like, this shit is important. This is not a you can do it or you can't do it. No, this is a non-negotiable if you want to win at life. Because if you don't have your energy, you don't have your health, you weigh in 30, 40, 50, 100 plus pounds, you go be tired. You can't sprint with the sprinters when you overweight and tired. It's gonna be harder. You could try to push yourself, but at some point you go break. This is how folks be having strokes and brain aneurysms and shit and heart attacks because the body isn't conditioned like it needs to be. And of course there are certain circumstances where people, they totally healthy, still have a heart attack. But I'm talking about things that work against people. You're being overweight. You're not being healthy. You're not eating right. You haven't been exercising. And so what makes you think you're going to be able to sprint with sprinters and really win at life if you're not taking care of you? That's all I'm saying. Winning requires you taking care of yourself. If you're not doing that, you're fucking up. Alright? You're fucking up. And so I'm not saying it has to be perfect. I'm not saying you got to be all ripped up, cut up like a bodybuilder, even though I do believe every single man on this earth should have a built up chest. Should have, be anywhere between 10 to 15% body fat at any given moment in their life. You know what I'm saying? Because you just go look better, feel better, be more proud of yourself. And that way you can really get out here and, get to the action. Get to that bag. Do whatever you're trying to do with your life. Taking care of your family. You see what I'm saying? And so that's how I look at it, man. It's a habit. So don't look at people like they're better than you. Don't look at people like, oh man, well, they got these genetics and so they just gonna be better than me. No. Like, focus on the habits that are gonna help you start winning. And if you start doing these habits, be disciplined with the habits and be consistent with the habits, you go win, man. That's what winning is all about. It's a habit. Alright? So anyway, hopefully I found this podcast helpful. If you did, be sure to drop your boy a follow, subscribe, however they talk about doing it on the podcast, and also drop your boy a 5-star review, man. We out of here. Let's go.